A dream I wouldn't have even dared to whisper to myself a few years back. I'm speaking it loud today for the very first time under the spotlight and on a stage. And when it's not any stage, when it's TEDx stage, it's going to take lots of courage and vulnerability, I'm telling you. I'm a 48-year-old leadership strategist, and when I was 6, I dreamt infinite nights of becoming a dancer. I lie flat in my bed until early dawn. I choreograph in my head fictitious dance moves. I put on a black, shimmery leotard. I imagine a breathtaking performance on a stage, just like this stage. I feel on my skin the warmth of sweat mixed with the shimmer of tears. I hear and I visualize a standing ovation. A couple of hours sleep later, the alarm goes off. My dad wakes me up, and it's time to go to school. As I put on my heavy school uniform, I own the truth that I have never even taken a dance class. Instead, I sit still, study hard, collect A's, and make everyone around me proud. I would have happily traded my A's with B's and C's and D's and a dance mastery. I stand here today. I'm wearing a black jumpsuit and not a black leotard, and I'm living my dream job. I stand here so I share with you how I have incorporated dance in the leadership practice that I deliver. But before I do this, let me ask you, who in this room believe in dream jobs? Can I have a show of hands? I'm going to start with Danny's story, and I promise I'm coming back to mine. There's no runaway TEDx speaker, I promise. This is a flashback memory of Danny and I sitting in a relaxed bohemian coffee shop. The music is playing nicely and moderately, and we could still discern the noise of coffee being meticulously prepared. The metal is clanking as the barista pulls on one more espresso shot. The steam of milk is hissing, and so is the steam of our thoughts. Cheryl's crow music is playing in the background. I love Cheryl's music mainly because of her inspiring story. Cheryl has started her career singing backups for Michael Jackson and other artists. Her dream was to have her own music. 3 Grammys later, and she has achieved her dream. A bit pumped by Cheryl's music and Cheryl's story, I turn almost abruptly and without priming, I ask Danny, what was your dream job when you were a child? To my surprise, Danny doesn't look a bit too puzzled. Perhaps he's pretty much used to my awkward questions. His answer carries a faraway spark of childhood as he goes, an astronaut. I indulge a bit more in the nutty aroma of the coffee, and I press further. And when you went to university, what was your dream job? Danny is now wiping some foam over his mouth and taking a bit longer to answer, and he goes, a pilot. I lean in. And before you land your current role, what was your dream job? Danny is now looking down. He's tracing with his finger a stain of coffee on the table that I can't even see. He finally says, an engineer for aircrafts. I then pose the last question. And now, what's your dream job? It's a massive void, a long silence, until Danny mutters, I don't believe in dream jobs. Dream jobs don't exist. I showed Danny on my phone a photo of me in my last retreats, delivering a workshop under the title From Boardroom to Boatroom. And I asked him, how about this? If this isn't a dream job, I don't know what is. Danny has a double major in maritime engineering and aerospace architecture. He has a 12-year tenure in one of the most renowned maritime companies. He has an outstanding business outcome, except that with every achievement and every recognition and every accolade and every applause, his soul withers a bit more. Somehow, somewhere along the way, the universe has manipulated Danny into believing that it's okay to settle for boats when all you dream about is the space and the sky and the airplanes. After all, is there so much difference between a boat and a plane? When Danny and I have engaged 3 years back, he has categorically dismissed every attempt to enter the transition tunnel. You're probably wondering what is a transition tunnel. Transitions look nothing like a glamorous boulevard, and everything like a long, perpetual, gloomy tunnel. Light at the end of the tunnel? There seemed to be no end. Few steps into the tunnel, a door greets newcomers. It says, exit. Those at an early stage who cannot tolerate the pain of the crucible exit from this door. They cloak their embarrassment and shame and bounce back to their previous life and previous job. They act as if nothing has happened. It's a sort of a boomerang transition. Now, those who have survived the temptation of the exit door have another door appearing in their way. This time, it looks more like a hatch. It says, settle. Those who choose to leave from the settled door land a life or a place or a job that isn't necessarily better than theirs prior to entering the transition tunnel. It's a sort of a transition that is so short-term and usually ends in a sad story. Danny and I are pretty much caffeinated by now and pretty much marinated in our thoughts. I order one more coffee. I take a leap of faith and I ask Danny, would you like me to share with you the commonalities of people who have endured the transition tunnel? Danny nods, a bit skeptical. He looks a bit too obliged to comply. He knows I would have shared anyway. 5 commonalities. Obsession, not just passion. It's not a matter of if it happens, but rather a matter of when it happens. It's not an all-in situation. It's a nothing else situation. Nothing else. 2, delusion. People around them think that they have lost their mind. They certainly did. They show up for the invisible. They surrender their head every dawn in between their hands and ask, what do I do now? With every impossibility and every invisibility, they figure out things. 3, emotionalism, not stoicism. Unlike what we think, people in the transition tunnel feel a lot of emotions and they feel them deeply. They know how to value tag every emotion though. So A, they would bypass an emotion with a low value tag. B, they would internalize and process an emotion with a high value tag. And C, and most importantly, they acquire the skill of deferring the emotional process while in the middle of a task, hence the agility. 4th commonality, contrast, not balance. One day they wake up ecstatic and fulfilled, and the second day they're defeated and they're depleted, and then the third day it's mundane and ordinary and boring and flat. They embrace all 3/3. Fifth and final commonality: headaches and blisters. I found out that people in the transition tunnel are violently committed, disciplined, perseverant, and persistent in their physical workout the same way they are in their transition work. Danny has vanished after our conversation. Of course he would after me sharing the 5 commonalities. Earlier this year, he reaches out with a message that oozes a fierce courage. It reads, "Rose, it turns out I have never stopped dreaming. I was just smothering my dream. Today I'm giving myself a permission to dream again. I have a lot of rust and dust to shake off. P.S. The photo of you on a boat is not pure luck." Danny entered the transition tunnel. He did. Before he hops on the transition tunnel, we made a funny pact that he will burn every boat and that he will leave only on an airplane. Danny did leave on an airplane. Danny has changed his life overnight after a couple of 100 nights. Danny is living his dream job. And now back to me, and to my dream job, and to my dance dream. I've been a Danny at some point in my life. I have transcended Danny's syndrome many years back. Even more, I have certified as a somatic dance facilitator, and now I enable people in the transition tunnel to connect body and mind. They dance. I dance in shapes and ways and forms different from the choreography of the 6-year-old me. After all, am I not dancing on this stage today? And how about you? Are you willing to relinquish Danny's syndrome? Are you willing to create dream jobs, one transition tunnel at a time? And thank you.